That entire opening sequence was done with the Insta360 GO2. That's this little teeny tiny camera. This is just a carrying case and a charging case. Serves as remote control. We'll talk more about that later. But this is the camera. This tiny little thing, smaller than your hand, bite size. Doesn't come in very many flavors though. Blech. Anyways, this is all I used for that little sequence. It's really a cool little camera, does a lot of fun things. So I thought you'd like to see kind of how I set this up to do all of those shots you just saw. Now, one of the cool things about this little camera is it's magnetic, and it even comes with this little holder that it'll stick to. You can wear this around your neck, stick it under your shirt, then the camera will stick there so you can get those personal point of view kind of shots. By the way, the chips are here at the community slash pile. They've got enough surplus chips from the project they were chipping for that we can now take these and use them back at home to mulch. So it's really a good service. Now, another thing this little camera does when it's in the Pro Video mode, it's got different modes, but in the Pro Video mode, it automatically horizon levels. So as I turn this, the horizon line should stay the same. I don't know if that's working properly or not, but it'd be interesting to find out. And hopefully the skid steer still idling isn't messing with the audio too bad. But I think I'm going to do something really weird. I'm going to put this on one of the tires of the skid steer and see what it looks like as we roll down the road. So it's going to be a weird shot. Are you dizzy yet? That's just a quick idea of how I might set up the Insta360 GO2 to take some interesting shots while I'm doing stuff around here. The fact that this is so light and compact makes it really quite a handy little camera. But the case is an oversized battery, so every time you put the camera back in, it starts charging. This doesn't have a very big battery. I don't know what the battery life is on it, but it's not real long, so you extend it by about 3 times by putting it in the case every so often and letting that charge it. The case also then has a little tiny screen on it to tell you what mode you're in, whether you're in regular video mode, photo mode, or pro video mode, which is what I use most of the time. And it also has a start and stop recording button. There's also a start and stop record button. This whole front is actually a button, and you can just push that and it should start recording. It's hard to say if you're just using this by itself because there's no way to tell it's recording. So I kind of like using the case as a start-stop, then at least I know. You can also link this camera right to your smartphone. That gives you something you can look at to see what kind of image you're capturing with the camera. Plus it gives you access to all the controls, and it's a lot easier to control that way. It's just hard to manage a big camera on a tripod, a phone, this camera, and all the accessories all at the same time. So I tend not to get the phone out for that, but if this was the only thing I was using, I would probably use my phone to make sure everything looked right quite a bit of the time. Part of what makes this so useful is all the accessories. This is the kind of thing Janet would refer to as a Barbie doll, because you can't just buy one thing, you got to buy the thing and then all the things that go with it. So I got a little box just full of little accessory items, little mount that goes on top of a tripod or at the end of the selfie stick, and it's magnetic so the camera just snaps into it. The little pendant necklace that you can wear around your neck under your shirt so you can stick the camera to your shirt, really handy. A variety of GoPro style mounts, so if you have a GoPro bicycle mount or motorcycle mount, helmet mount, something like that. One of the more useful things I've found lately, and this one is not by Insta360, this is a little magnetic base and a standoff made by a company called Bushman. And of course, none of these companies are sponsoring me. Nobody's paying me for the video. Nobody sent me any of this stuff for free. I just thought you might find it interesting. But if you put this on top of it and stick the camera in there, you can stick it to the top of your car, the hood of your car. You can stick it to the side of the car, or skid steer for that matter. And it just makes for a lot of different interesting ways to mount the camera. And because this pivots, you're not limited to just sticking it on something flat like you do if you use the built-in magnet. I hear a little bit of thunder, and it is raining ever so lightly. Good thing I decided to do this outside. There's a little mount that holds it on the brim of a cap or something else, some sort of a strap that you can put this little clip on and mount the camera in there. Unfortunately, I may have ruined this one when it fell out of my bag and I ran over it with the skid steer. But I think I'm going to heat the plastic up in some boiling water, see if I can bend it back and get it to work again. Otherwise, I'll probably buy a new one, and I don't know if you can buy this as a single piece or if you got to buy a set of these things. I think most of these came as a little kit. You got 4 or 5 different styles of mounts. For a stand out there, I was using this little weighted tripod base, and this keeps the thing from falling over. Not too big an issue with the 360 GO2, but the 1X, the bigger 360 camera, is just a little bit more top heavy, and if you have this thing extended all the way out, there's 4 sections, it could fall over, and you don't really want to knock these things over, especially the 360 camera with the exposed lenses. Little GO2 is probably not quite as vulnerable, but it's still kind of nice to have this. I think both of these came from a company called Best 360. They're somewhere online. I'll see if I can find links for this stuff if you're really interested in it. But Insta360 makes a similar version. This just doesn't have the big weight. It's not quite as wide a footprint. A lot lighter, a lot easier to travel with. And it's just a friction selfie stick, so you don't have to worry about twisting little knobs. But it's not quite as secure, not quite as tall. So the other one's my favorite for most things. But if I'm just throwing it in my camera bag and I'm not sure if I'm going to need it, this is the one I usually take. This is also the little camera that I used to get that close-up shot of the big blade on the stump grinder in that previous video. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link to it right up here. If you have and want to watch something else, I'll link to something interesting down here. We'll see you for the next one. Little teeny tiny little camera that I just dropped on the ground. I hope I can find it.